Hello, so on today's chat about transformational therapy, I wanted to just talk about fears and phobias, because every single person on this planet has one kind of fear or one kind of phobia at least. So it's something that we can all identify with. So if you're a therapist, how do you deal with somebody that has a fear or a phobia? You know, it could be something really minute, but it could be a phobia that's so bad it just takes over their whole life, stops them doing things. The most powerful tool that I found to work with fears and phobias is, of course, hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Now, for nearly 20 years, I've worked with that amazing transformational tool. And I've had clients, students come to me and they've had fears of, you know, the general things like spiders, phobias, spiders, flying, cockroaches, fear of heights, fear of water, that kind of thing. I've also had sort of extreme ones where I've had, things like fear of frogs, fear of going to the toilet in public, fear of rats, you name it. I've probably had it over those 20 years. So there have been students that have been on my courses and also clients that have come to me for one-to-one sessions when I used to do one-to-one sessions. So how do you, as that therapist, work with somebody that has a kind of fear or a kind of phobia? Now, really, most people tend to worry that if their phobia is really, really bad, it's beyond help. But with hypnosis, the more intense the fear is, the more intense the phobia is, the easier it is to help somebody. And isn't that crazy? It's like if somebody gives you that fear or phobia, you know, on a score of 0 to 10. So 0, it doesn't affect them at all. It's not really anything to them. 10 is it's so extreme it might stop them leaving their house. It might stop them doing certain things. They're absolutely petrified of it. If it's up there 8, 9 and 10, as that hypnotherapist, you want to be applauding inside, because the more intense it is, the easier it is to help your client. So how many sessions, normally I get asked, how many sessions does it take for somebody that has an extreme fear or phobia? Yes, it can be done in one session. You can work with hypnotherapy, and if the client is short on funds and time, if they've got a fear of flying and they're going away tomorrow, yes, you could do one session and that would be completely effective for the client. But I would say really you want to work with them 2 or 3 times in order to successfully overcome the issue. So the first session, really, if you did have the time and the client had the funds to do 2 or 3 sessions, the first session would be that you would do a general relaxation session. You would put certain suggestions in there that every time they thought or encountered the issue or saw it, if it was an animal or, you know, a spider, that kind of thing, you know, then they would remain calm and relaxed, and you would give the client a recording of that session. So that would be the first session. A week later, ideally, you'd do the second session. And that session would be something called the rewind technique. Now, some people say that's often used in NLP, but NLP only works with the conscious mind. So yes, it can have some effect, but it doesn't work with the deep subconscious mind that runs the patterns of behavior. And that's what you're looking to tweak in hypnotherapy, and that's really the only tool that can do that. So to change the subconscious, the second session we would do would be a rewind session. So you would find out from your clients exactly the kind of scenario. So somebody that came to me that had a fear of frogs, if I can speak properly, what is, you know, how does that affect you? And it was actually when she was gardening in her garden that these frogs, obviously during certain times of the year, would jump out of nowhere, and it would absolutely freak her out. It stopped her gardening, it stopped her going into the garden. It really affected her life. And sometimes people can think that, you know, fears and phobias are quite amusing, but actually actually to the client they're petrifying. So you have to really be serious with your client when you're dealing with that. So yes, the second session would be the rewind session, and yes, it uses elements of NLP, but you're taking the client into a deep hypnotic state so that you're working with the subconscious. And what we do here is we actually run through, so for that lady that had the fear of frogs, we would run through an actual scenario of her gardening. You know, what is it? Where would they jump from? What would they do when they jumped? Would they land on your feet? What do they look like? You know, what is it that happens in your body when you actually think or you see a frog? So you take all the elements of that and you build it into the session. Then what you start to do, you play it out like a movie to the subconscious. And what that does is it actually starts to change the patterns of behavior. You then rewind it and you run it again. You get the client to rewind the movie in their mind of what they've just saw, and then they play it again. You change the color from being color to black and white. You rewind it, and you go through this scenario of what we call the rewind technique. And that really is, if you only had one session with your client, that is what you would use to work with them. Now, if you did have a third session, then you might do a regression session to take them back to the point where they were first afraid of frogs or whatever the issue is, and regress them back to that point. Or you may just do a simple hypnosis session, take them very deep into the subconscious and bring in lots of post-hypnotic suggestions. So ideally for fears and phobias, 3 sessions, but if your client only has funds and time for one session, just one session can be extremely effective. I've seen it countless times. I've had students on my courses that have come to me, and I've even thought, I've got students here watching me. Can I really help this person in just half an hour? And I've helped them. It's been amazing. It's not me, it's the techniques. And I've helped them and they've been helped so incredibly. Frogs, spiders, heights, flying, snakes, going to the toilet outside in public, blah, 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 you know, everything and everything I've had over 20 years. So really the main thing to remember is the more intense and fearful the phobia is, the easier it's for you to help with. So you can join my hypnotherapy course. I'll put a link in at the bottom of this video, and you can come and join that if you want to learn the skills from me of not only how to deal with fears and phobias for clients, but also how to help them lose weight, reduce anxiety, stop smoking, fears and phobias, pain management, all within my foundation hypnosis and hypnotherapy course. Have a great day.